Shalom, everybody. Shalom. We are in the coolest place in Colombia. We are in Merkava Cafe. Yoo-hoo. Woo! Today we will have a special shiur Torah in honor of Rosh Chodesh. I call it Plinei Torah Live, and we will have a Torah Dul. We call it the Dul for the Talit Katan. In a second you understand. I know a lot of you wanted to see me and this guy fight live. You're going to get to see it today live. But before we do this, I had a drink that is missing.
This is yours?
Yes? I don't know, my wife watched it. She's watched me drink coffee once in my life. This is the second time. I need caffeine badly. I'm in desperate condition. But before we do everything, Dudu, ספירת העומר.
תודה.
קדימה, קדימה.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו על ספירת העומר. היום 46 יום לעומר שהם 6 שבועות ב4 ימים. Amén. Bendito eres tú, Adonai, nuestro Elohim, soberano del universo, que nos has santificado con tus mandamientos y nos has ordenado con respecto a la cuenta del Homer. Hoy son 46 días para el Homer, que son 6 semanas y 4 días. Amén.
Amen. Amen. תודה לך, דודו. Thank you very much. Today is a special shiur. It's a double portion shiur. First we'll have the dul, and then we'll have with us Mr. Eldad Kainan.
Wow.
If you are watching us now live, you don't want to miss. Start sharing like crazy. Wherever page you are, it's going to be fun. But before that, I want to honor somebody special. Where is he?
Did you want translation to Spanish or no?
No translation right now, no translation. Where is he? Where is the owner of this fine establishment?
Right here.
Giovanni Burgos, come. German, give a greeting in Espanol to everybody from Merkava Cafe.
Ok, un saludo para todos, bienvenidos, Bruhim Abaim, Rabino Shapira, Rabino Italki, Eldad Kainan, all the rabbi lands, and thank you for coming in español, right?
En español, no en español.
Gracias.
It's not working? What's the problem?
Es un
Everything's fine.
So what's going on? Why are you
honor
looking at
Everything's fine.
my... Okay, continue.
it's just
Look at the
look
camera.
at the camera. Sí. Saludos a todos, los esperamos por acá en Merkava Café para que vengan y tomen un buen café y estudien y hagan un shiur como lo va a hacer hoy el Rabino Shapira contra el Rabino Italki y está interesante.
Don't say this.
Ok. Es una sorpresa, entonces espero que se queden ahí live y ya viene la sorpresa.
Now, because you have been such an awesome host, and by the way, once a month there is a gathering of the yeshiva here, Shiur Torah plus dinner. So come this Thursday, special Shiur Torah and dinner. Rega, Giovanni. Because what happened yesterday on the football field,
We won.
no, you lost.
No, 7-7.
No, you forgot what happened.
Sheva.
No, you forgot what happened in the PKs.
No, penalties, no.
The Ima shall account.
That's
I give you a peace offering to make this, to make you feel a little bit less sad. This is one of the largest collection of books in the Spanish language, and also great in the English language. I wanted to give something to your collections that you don't have.
Amen.
So I want to tell you how much I love you and how much I appreciate you. And you're doing such an awesome job here. Support this awesome place.
Hey.
So I have to tell you, I carried from Mea Shearim. It wasn't fun or easy.
You have to say it in Spanish.
Okay, here we go. Vini Mashiach. Mashiach. Not Mashiach. 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 Viene Mashiach.
Viene Mashiach.
Mashiach. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Vini Mashiach.
The coming of the Mashiach.
The coming of the Mashiach through the letters of the Aleph Bet.
Okay.
Fantastico, fantastico.
Thank you. Thank you.
The big print edition of Talmud Bavli, tractate Masechet
Right over there.
Gittin,
Yes.
for you.
Thank you. Thank you for the collection over there. Moshe.
Oh, this is you already.
No, porque yo le...
Okay, we have here Masechet Psachim, Babiano, Yona, Blikistin. And the heaviest one of all. By Menachem, not Menachem, Menachem. Crazy language. Parperaot. Here is an exam. This is exam. To all the Talmidim of Shuv. Whoever get it right now, get extra credit. What is Parperaot? And where Parperaot mentioned? Escucha, bevakasha. What is Parperaot? I buy you book. You don't even know what it means, the title. What is Parperaot?
A rabbi.
No. What is Parperaot?
Nobody? Moshe.
זה אותו שורש
You have to do
שלו.
it in Midrash.
Parperaot is not in Hebrew. It's a word in Aramaic. Parperaot actually mean appetizer.
I got it.
Pninei, like saying Pninei Torah. Parperaot la
This one I
Torah.
won't give it to you.
פניני הנודע אלה מדרש במדבר. Much love. And my favorite, this is in English. And actually the shiur today will be talking a little bit about this. How many of you heard about the Maharal of Prague? Heard the name? What's the most famous thing Maharal of Prague wrote? A book called Netzach Israel. Netzach Israel is famous. And here we have Lion Cub of Prague, that's his nickname. Todd Kapra Ashkafa from Gur Aryeh, the Maharal of Prague. The first time they released it in English. Especially heavy and especially expensive. But especially I was happy to get it for you as a gift from the yeshiva. This is the 3-volume Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Mazel tov. Okay. Ask the people if they hear okay, if they don't need this. Okay, okay, don't ask, never mind, doesn't matter. But now we are ready to study Torah. It's a very special time to invite 2 good teachers. One of them is already studying, preparing a full 3 hours midrash on the side. Mr. Passover Lamb. We call him the Passover Lamb now. That's his nickname, I guess. But anyway, he's here with us. So I invited him to be in the Shiur Torah. So you see that everything is cool, everything is happy. And it's great to have great teachers teach the Torah and be friends. So, and we're going to have a duel of Torah today. We're going to have a machloket. That's the thing of the day today, a machloket. With me and Rabbeinu Yecheskel. Rabbeinu Yecheskel, come here. Look at the fat Rabbi. All the way from Toronto. He's already ready with all his commentators. And we have here to the left. We have here to the left. We have here to the left. Alex Elitzur Cabeza. I know you don't like it, but we're still in numbers. We are still in numbers. We're going to study from numbers today. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו לעסוק בדברי תורה. Amen. Those who are watching live right now, it's an interactive shiur. Feel free to shout from the crowd because that's what Torah is. So if you have some chidush to add to us today, we will consider it. We are in Deuteronomy chapter 1 and I want to look today at you. We've been discussing the concept of Pkudim and Pkudah, which is an important concept. By the way, today's portion is Pairs of Torah Live. So this is live edition. If you're watching us, feel free to Google us, Ahavat Ammi Yeshivat Shuvu. I want to specifically talk about this. Look at this a little bit deeper at the beginning of the portion. We talked about this verse, but it's important for us to read this together. 1:16. Ele kri'ei, but it's actually kru'ei. Ele kru'ei ha'edah nesiei matot avotam. Reshei alfei Israel hem. Here are the one who are called the presidents, the Nazis of the Edah, the community. Let's stop there for a moment. I'll turn to you guys. Why is it significant according to this? Today it's kind of unplugged. We're not going to look at a lot of commentary. Just look at the text, the pshat of the text that they call Kru'ei Ha'edah. Why is that significant? You want to stab at that, Alex? You want to add anything to this?
Edah would be elevated from Kehal or Kehilah.
There is actually a difference between Kahal and Edah.
And Edah has the word Ad in it. It's an eternal testimony.
Ad, okay. What else it's meant?
Oh, I thought you give it to Alex.
No, whatever. You can. Kuei Edah. Kuei Edah. They word Edah.
Those who are called.
Called from the Edah. Why is the Torah mentioned the Edah?
Those who give an eternal testimony.
Okay, so
they don't just congregate.
So
they do more than congregate, they testify.
So according to your understanding, why are those been called out? What do you think? Why were those specifically called out? Here in the Torah portion, at the beginning of the Torah portion, the children of Israel says, Seu et rosh kol edat bet bnei Israel, which is also very important. He says, a mitzvah says that to carry, and again, notice I want to point something important to everybody. We see the word Edah mentioned here in verse 2 as well. Remember, Israel used to call Kahal, and then they turned the name to Kahal Edat Bnei Israel. But here, they don't call Kahal anywhere in the text. They call Edah. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
Well, in this situation, it's interesting. The word Rosh is in the singular, right?
Yeah.
So we're not talking about a fragmentation, we're talking about a unification, right? And this concept, if you even think about the words of Adat versus Kahal, right?
Huge difference.
It's major difference. And the Kahal is something where you can gather, but it doesn't mean you're in the same concept of unity, right? There's not a unification. And this reflects also in the singular use of the word Rosh.
Yeah, this is actually a good point, but it's interesting. Seu, they are to carry the Rosh, the singular of the entire Edah. So the question is, who is the one who will carry? The idea of the people who are carrying the leaders. Yes. You usually think about the leaders who are carrying the people. But the Torah actually says something different. Mm-hmm. We are carrying our leaders. Right?
Let's talk about the word Se'u.
Se'u, sorry.
Lifting up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where is this word used?
Se'u? No, tell me.
If I'm not mistaken, what happened with Yosef when he interpreted the two dreams?
Right, lift up, right? Yeah. The cup bearer, right? Lift up the head.
It could be negative, it could be positive, depending on the context.
So you can actually carry your leader in a very negative way, in a positive way? Is that what you're proposing?
Yes.
Here?
But also, I want to chime something in here, was we're talking about the head. Notice the juxtaposition in Beit and Gimel 2 and 3. You go from the word Rosh to actually mentioning Legigulotam. All right?
Oh, that's a big subject.
Yeah.
Why are we talking about a skull?
Yeah, the Gulgolet, the word Gulgolet.
Right.
I would say it's actually a Gilgul talking about their own tikkun in some way. That's at least some of the Mefarshanim would say that, you know.
Right.
It could also be associated with Gikul Nefesh, not to get into anything,
yeah,
but the
like-
cycles.
But in the Aramaic, Golgotha.
Golgotha, right.
But I mean, just on a simple level, the cycles of their generations. For every generation, Gikul Nefesh would also have to do with every generation. They would have to continue in this path that the fathers started with.
Okay, what was the point you wanted to add with Golgotha?
No, I just bring the interesting juxtaposition between the word Rosh, which is head.
And Gulgolet is also head, in a
it's
way.
head, right, in a
So
way.
what's the distinction? Why we have this distinction here? What do you think we
Well, when we look at the word, when we go back to the scroll, we look at it in the plural where the word Rosh is in the singular.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So we're looking at one paralleling another. When we're looking at here, specifically as we get on here, we also talk about the concept of the Savah. We also talk about, we're just not talking about numbering like census here. Right?
Yeah, no doubt about this.
More than that.
But look, the key, the point I want to stress with everybody here, we're talking about the lifting that can be a positive or a negative. I think the Torah you're talking about is in a positive way. You know, you are to carry your Rosh, which is the leaders, Kol Edat Bnei Israel, the entire community of the house of Israel. The key here is God really, we need to understand what the book Ba'midbar is. Let's take a step back.
Right.
God preparing the Edah. He is forming the Edah. Ka'al is a gathering of individual, but Edah, as you say, it's Ed, but it's also related to word Edut, right?
That's what I was
Testimony.
What do they testify to?
What are they testifying
What is
for?
the Edut?
What is their testimony
Beninu
about?
Torah. That could be one understanding.
Okay, I don't think that's what they're testifying for about. What is it they're testifying about?
The works that Hashem did for them, He brought them out of
Rega, Alex. Where are they?
Ba'midbar.
What is the Midbar? What does Ba'midbar represent? When
Preparation.
we read the book of Ba'midbar through a messianic lens,
Dryness. Emptiness.
Galut!
Galut.
The entire book of Ba'midbar deals with a Galut. And if you want to take the book of Ba'midbar, ask the question, what is the book of Ba'midbar is talking about? It's about how we are to act in the Galut. It's a recipe book of how to act in the Galut. Okay? Are we in a Galut now, Rabino?
Yes, yeah.
100%. No?
Yeah, 100%.
So in a way, we can look at the Ashkafa of the book of Ba'midbar through, okay, even in a Galut, you are still preparing for the Geula.
Right.
And it's interesting, you see by Ba'midbar more miracles than any other books in the Torah itself. So number one, we're in a Galut. The Torah said to us, even in a Galut, you're still a Da.
Exactly.
Which is important to think. You know, the Jews said, well, we will be unified when Mashiach comes. But the Torah says, no, you're unified in the Galut.
Absolutely.
So this is really important. He said, build me an army. Now look at this with me for a moment. In verse 16, he is calling them Kruei Aeda, right? Again, he's calling them. But notice something here. Verse 18. Ve'et Kol Aeda, the entire community, Ekhilu. Now you see the verb form of the word Kehila. Ekhilu be'echad lachodesh hasheni. Why do you think the Torah is speaking here about Ekhilu? What is the meaning here of the word Ekhilu? Anybody want to
They have to come together as one.
But actually look at verse 17. ויקח משה and Moses ואהרון and Moses and Aaron ואת האנשים האלה. They took it the האנשים האלה. That's also peculiar.
Right.
מה זה האנשים האלה? מה זה when you say האיש האלה? Why do you think the Torah says האנשים האלה? Those people. I don't know how it's translated, but it's like saying those people. אשר נקבו בשמות. He took those people. They're regular people. Hello? We think that the Nesiim are going to be like, you know, we look at Rabbanim and pastors and say, oh, they're like heaven. the regular.
They come from the people. That's why they have to.
They're
lift them up.
coming from the people. ואת כל העדה והקהילו באחד לחודש. Who is the one who sanctified them as the leaders? Who is the one who is actually doing that?
Say who is plural.
So who is the one really? Is it God? That's my question to you. Is it God who said, oh, you're going to be leader? Or is the leadership come from the people?
He tells the people to lift them up.
But if this is true, we're talking about significant topic now. Hamlacha. Think about making somebody a leader, a king. Think about Mashiach. Is Mashiach going to be a king from heaven? Or is it going to be a king from earth?
He needs a kingdom.
He has to become a king from us.
So if that being said,
But you could say his root. The root, that's another deeper level here.
yeah.
The roots of Israel is above.
So that's a very interesting thing. If Mashiach coming from the root of Israel,
Right.
and the root of Israel is, we have to do it from below, but Mashiach have to come from above. And does that mean that the root of Israel is actually
Right, above.
divine?
The concept of the Sevaot, the plural,
Exactly.
the repetition.
Yeah, exactly.
Over the Malachim.
It's very interesting point you are breaking. Think about the Kedusha, the third benediction in the Amidah.
Right.
נקדש את שמך
Ba'aram.
כשם שמקדיש במרום, בשמיים.
Above.
So what is the implication of this? What does that mean, Lance?
It means we to raise ourselves to that level. We are to go to that level to emulate exactly how they are to be a testimony as well.
So those people who call Kruei Ha'eda, we're talking about something very important here, leadership. What is their job? What is the job of a leader? In the end of the day, what is their job? Right? They are in the Galut. They need somebody to do what for them?
To be the example, to be the one that they are to look to for their guidance. And
Which mean what? What does that mean? What is their job?
Make it on earth as it is in heaven.
Exactly. In essence, you see here this entire group of people serve as a Mashiach. They are a Mashiach. They are a form of a Mashiach to Klal Israel here.
And even if you go back to the concept of the Gilgal, right? What happens if one generation doesn't complete its tachlit? Another generation has to come and finish. Right?
Yes.
It's the idea that it's Gilgal, it will continue to roll.
That's exactly what I think it is.
Right? And this idea, if one doesn't do the tikkun here, another generation has to come. But this generation has to be able to prepare that next generation.
So here we see this word ekilo, which is the verb of the word kahal, which is a peculiar word. It says, ve'et kol ha'eda, the entire congregation, ekilo. But wait a second, I'm confused now. Moshe is taking the leaders.
Right?
Help me out here.
But they seem to be decompartmentalized.
Yeah, but they're decompartmentalized. But here's my question to you. But he says he sanctified the entire Edah. So I don't understand it. Is he sanctify the people? Or does he sanctify
The leaders.
the Edah?
Right.
The Torah is not clear here. Any thoughts about this? Who is being sanctified here? The people or are those leaders we're reading about?
Everybody.
How can it be?
Because everybody has a function.
Yeah, but he's selecting people. Hey, Alex, I'm selecting you. Here's my question. By me selecting you, how does it benefit everybody here?
When they participate and lift up the leader.
I think you're on to something.
Right.
Do you have anything you want to add to this?
I would say in the same sense because, usually if you look at the word Edah, sometimes some commentaries will say the Edah refers to the leaders of Israel. But where does the leaders come from? Right? They don't come out of nowhere. So the Kahal is a gathering, but not really a unified gathering. And we're looking at how it's being used over here. We're looking at the formation of leadership taking place.
So, wait a second. The job of those people we already established here is to really to go to the heavens and bring down the message from Hashem on how to come out of the Galut. Right?
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so when we're talking about the ladder itself, Who is the leader here? Is the leader the people?
The Sulam.
Who is the Sulam? Is the Sulam the people? Or the Sulam is the fact that God says, oh, you are selected. Are you following what I'm saying? I'm selecting you, so I'm giving you the capability to go up. Think about it carefully.
I think it's both, because a leader is nothing without his disciples.
It's more like the calling, I believe, what we're looking at. Right? There's a calling here.
So notice, right in verse Kriye Aeda.
Right.
Did it say these are the called ones?
This is Ha'ida.
Aeda, the community, the house of community. Without the community,
There's nothing.
there is no leaders. Everybody
That's my point.
need to follow this. This is very, very important.
Cool. It's unity.
It's more, there is codependency.
What's also interesting is that we see the word, we see Roshe versus Rosh in that same verse.
Verse Rashei Alfei Israel.
Right? Verses where you go back in verse 2,
Rosh.
Sulo et Rosh, right? Now we're in the plural.
Right. So they're different. So they're going to carry the people, you see. But we're to look at leaders as one. They're one, right? The leaders are one. But there is something unique here about, we can understand about the relationship, not just between Israel to their leaders, but isn't it a picture of Mashiach? Between Israel and Mashiach. This is very important. Let's say that they are called out, but the people refuse to give the tools to the leaders. Yes? The leaders cannot do their job.
Right, exactly.
They can, I don't care how great of a leader you are, the leader cannot do the job. The same I would made the midah keneged midah about the Mashiach. If the Mashiach is called by Hashem, and Israel does not give something to Mashiach, Mashiach cannot be Mashiach.
Yeshua said, I'm not, until you say Baruch haba b'shem Adonai. The people of Israel, Am Yisrael, have to make him king.
Okay, so Israel have to say Baruch haba b'shem Adonai. Here
Right.
the Ba'midbar.
Right, but there has to be a volunteer announcement. In this case, when we talk about the job of Mashiach, Mashiach's job is to be able to disseminate Messianic consciousness. In other words, he has to equip, he has to empower. But at the same time, did the people raise the leader up?
You have to be willing to receive what he's equipping them with.
Okay, so the people that do have dependency upon the leader. The leader is a form of a Mashiach because they are leading the people out of the Galut. So let me ask you, what is it that the people need to give the leaders? If the people need the leaders, clearly what the leader needs from the people? That would be my question.
Trust.
What does that mean to us in reality? Think about the concept we present here. That the Mashiach need the people. That's a foreign concept. That Mashiach need us, because we always think about we needing Mashiach. It sounds almost blasphemous to say that Mashiach need us. But this is exactly the concept. What does that mean to us in reality and practicality if we are now Ba'midbar? What does it mean to us that Mashiach needs us?
We have to put on the right clothes of Mashiach.
We have to trust him. We have to trust that he's leading us.
So, here in the context of this, who is Moshe ve'Aaron? Moshe ve'Aaron, they are like the head of the community. I would say Moshe ve'Aaron represent HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They represent, the Midrash says Moshe nikra Ish HaElokim. Moshe is like Elokim here. He is the one who appointing. The Nesiah Ida is like Mashiach. And the people have to do something. Are you following what I'm saying? So what if Israel said, oh, we like these guys, but we're not going to follow him?
The king needs a kingdom.
It requires action.
Rambam said that. He said a king is not a king unless the people give him his authority and his sovereignty.
We know who Mashiach is, but he needs to be embraced by his kingdom.
So we need to definitely be embraced by this. Is the people of Israel embracing here their kings in sort speaking? Do they?
At this moment,
That's the problem, no.
I would say the answer is actually no, because look what's happening throughout the book of Ba'midbar.
yeah.
If they actually listened to authority, they wouldn't be in the wilderness for such a long time, So this is very, very important. Okay, the people have to recognize the leader and support the leaders. And supporting the leaders is first of all recognition that the authority that giving to the leaders is given from Hashem, from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay? So look, we're talking here about this word, right? The words here, ifkedu, pikadon. Now look with me, turn with me, a little bit later in the Torah portion, 44. We'll start in 44. Those who are watching us, Bruchim Habayim, special guest in this alternative studio today. It says, Ele apkudim. Now listen, the language a little bit changed here. Because now, he's speaking about the entire house of Israel, okay? He says, first he starts, look, Ele apkudim asher pakad Moshe ve'Aaron. This is the commanded one that he put, Moshe ve'Aaron, v'nisiei Israel, 12 ish, echad lebet avodah. So he's talking first about the leaders. But then he says in verse 45, Vayu kol pkudei bnei Israel lebet avotam miben 20 shana umala kol yotze tzava. He said, oh no, by the way, everybody up to the age of 20 and up is called pkudei Israel. So what is the difference? Wait, if the Nesiei Edah, they call pkudim, and all of Israel, anybody above the age of 20 called pkudim. What's the distinction? Wait a second, wasn't that the call, Rabbi Yecheskel? Wasn't that the point of Korach?
Yeah, exactly.
We are all pkudim, we are all the same, we're all in the same army, we're in the IDF, we all serve the same thing. But it seems like the Torah actually would agree with Korach, because they both called pkudim. Okay, how should we think about this? And matter of fact, verse 46, just to conclude, you call up pkudim. Now the Torah go well above 600,000, 600,000, ו-3,000 and 3,000 ו-550, 550 הלוויים למטה אבותם. And said the Levites were not counted among them. So wait a second, I am very confused now.
Now you mentioned Korah. You and Rabbi Yecheskel have both taught us about the deposits. What have been pikudim, also associated with the word that we're deposited with something that eventually Hashem is going to come back and take account. What have we done? What we've been deposited with. But also in connection with that word is tafkid, which are functions.
יפה מאוד, יפה מאוד. This is exactly where I wanted to go with. Right. So everybody here is pkudim.
Exactly.
But the word pkudim in Hebrew related to the word tafkid. Tafkid is a role. And he really is saying, oh, you have a role, Nesim. Oh, you have a role, Bnei Israel, 600,000. And oh, everybody have a role. So let me ask you a question. What's the distinction between Aaron and Nesim? Because the language is the same language.
Exactly.
But what's the distinction in the role? What is the distinction?
We can look at it like a tree. The roots are what support the branches.
Yes.
Right? In this situation, we learn about the roots and then we learn about the branches.
So they all have a role to play.
Right.
But there is interdependencies. That's the call. And that's the something I want to bring to the crowd that we're watching us today. Don't look at your rabbi or your pastor because he's the head to do your job. That is a very important point. If you don't do the job, no, it's more than that, team. If you don't do the job, and let's say you're congregants, and I'm the rabbi, I cannot do my job. This is a concept that is foreign to people. Because they think, oh, if I don't do my job, it just hurts, the key community, but it's more than that. It hurts the Nesiei Edah.
Well, Rav Shaul teaches us in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, there's a body. A finger cannot do what a toe does. An eye cannot do what an ear does. And then he explains to us you get it to the Romans, as Rav Yecheskel taught us in the past, that the words of Hashem, the oracles of Hashem, were deposited to Am Yisrael. So natural branches going back, tying it in, we each have a function. Even the sojourner, the natural branches have a function. Everybody in Israel, everybody in Hashem's people has a function. And if one part of the body is not functioning properly, it's going to affect the whole body.
Well, this is right. It goes back to the concept of a tree with a trunk and it has small branches and large branches. One doesn't infringe on the domain of another.
Exactly.
Right? One doesn't infringe in that domain. One understands the essence
Yes.
of their perspective placement in that tree.
So let me take it a step further and ask you the question. I get what you're saying, and of course I agree 100%. This is the point that I think is so important. Why do you think the Torah is specific for a reason? Why does it tell us 603,550? Why does the Torah go to the labor?
Numbers, right.
That's the question we need to ask. You have any thoughts on that?
In this situation, everyone needs to understand their respective role.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Everyone has to understand. The fact that the Levi'im are separate, we later learn in the same book, Ba'midbar, that a Zar, which is a stranger, talking about Jews, are not prohibited to come into the domain of a
That's
Levi.
right. That's right.
Right?
Don't take upon yourself if it's just not yours.
Yeah, that's what
But the
Korah's
idea, I believe, what Rav Shapir is getting at here, is the idea that you think that the rabbi does everything, infringes in the domain of you not doing what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
Yeah, but I even want to take even your words a step further.
Okay.
It's taught that there is 600 letters in the Torah,
Right.
each person have a letters.
Right.
I wanted to listen what Maharal of Prague, this is really, I was thinking about this just as I was reading to, it says this in Gvurot Hashem. He says, the Torah could not be given to Israel until they acquired the critical mass of 60 myriads. For this is a complete number. Torah, which is eternal, could not be received by any of the patriarchs. Why? In a second we'll talk about this. However, fitting they were, for they were individuals who were mortal, and the nation was required to qualify to receive it. The same number is found in the departures from Egypt, Exodus 12:37, and it's found in Numbers 1:46, and also in the plains of Moab, Numbers 26:51. For this it has been that the completion of the spiritual formation of Israel is a population of 603,000. The reason is well known, as 6 is a complete number designating the physical world, which spread out to 6 directions: up, down, east, south, west, and north. The limits of the spreads are extremities of this direction. Each direction has the length and a width, and each of these has beginning, midpoint, and following. Okay, let's stop there. Who wants to take a shot of explaining the Maharal of Prague, what he's saying in a simple way? Do you want to do it? I can do it. You want to do it?
I'll let you go first.
Okay.
I got an idea.
Okay, I want to try this my idea here. The reason the Torah is precise on the number is because the Pkudah, right? We're talking about Israel fulfilling a Pkudah, could not take place until there is a wholeness in the tree. I'm using this analogy of the tree.
There's a maturity.
We think sometimes that a person who is missing, we say, what's a big deal? And I go back to the Torah, to Exodus. Moshe Rabbeinu go up to the mountain. It says he went alone. He have a unique assignment that only he can fulfill. There is here 603, 550 different assignments.
Okay, may I say something on that?
Yes, sure.
So on the opposite end, Rabbi Bernstein was speaking this during the conference.
Yes.
That when somebody does a mitzvah, they don't do it for themselves alone. They do it for Zichut Israel.
Okay.
So on the other side, we each have a personal function that we've been deposited with to fulfill. But it's not for us as an individual. It's for Klal Israel. It's for the entire people of Israel.
But again, it is concept you know, we talk about Achdut, the concept of Achdut, but here we're talking about a different concept, Achdut of the Pkudah. You know, okay, I give you here's an example I give you. My father, may his memory be blessed, was a tank commander. He has a job as the commander of the tank. But somebody inside the tank have to load the tank, they load the bombs, there are other people in the tank. Now the tank, yeah, you can drive it, but it's not functioning in an optimal way,
right.
if not every person does his job.
Exactly.
And that's what I said. You want to add?
And that's what I mean. Each function is for the benefit of all.
And what's important about this is that when we read this in verse 45, verse 45 is really repeating verse 3. But there's additional information.
There is definitely.
V'nei Israel, but look what it says. Levet avotam. What's that indicate? Right? The indication of the maturity, of coming to the full number.
Levet avotam, because I understand their heritage.
Right.
That's where they're coming from.
Right. It has to come from the root.
Very, very
right?
good.
And then these are the branches. But we see that missing before we start mentioning the names, when we go back to verse 3. Now, when we go back to verse 3, we read the concept of the Savah, okay? And that's something that's omitted in verse 45. Actually, is it omitted from verse 45? No. No, actually, it's mentioned in verse 45.
It's mentioned, but I don't see it in verse 3.
No, avotam is missing, but the word Savah is actually mentioned in both places, which goes to the heavenly
But there is
roots.
a difference. He is maybe enlisting them in verse 3, but here in verse 45, he's telling them, Lebet avotam. Hey, by the way, you're not just coming to a little army.
But what I'm taking in is this. You cannot be who you are. There's a saying in Peskita Rabatai that says, when were our deeds such the deeds of our fathers? In other words, right, the idea here is that you may be Yitzhak, but can Yitzhak be Yitzhak until he reaches the root of his father's essence?
Good.
Right? And that's why we have the superfluous mention, Levet avotam, right?
Yeah, that's very good. That's a very interesting. So here it's saying that, but again, I come back to this point. The uniqueness of the role of all of them. The Bet Avotam is almost like an entry.
Right.
You need to understand, okay, you're coming into a company, you're coming to the boot camp. First thing they give you this, the Anima Amin. That's the Bet Avotam. Oh, now by the way, you have your own task to fulfill. And every task is fulfilled. So let me ask you a question. Why people always think, like in the Messianic communities, that they are less important, they are less significant than somebody else? Oh, I don't read from the Torah. I get to clean the toilets, you know. People are offended by this.
Right, because they don't understand their self-worth. They don't understand their significance, right? They don't understand their role.
This is very good. This is excellent.
The other thing I want to point out, why do we read the superfluous after Levet avotam? Why does it have to say mi ben, and then esli shana? Esli shana is fine. Why do you have to say? I understand it's the conjunction here, but mi ben literally from son, if we take it literal.
From son.
But think about it, where's the son come from?
Father.
The Av. It's once you come from the root of the Av, you reach the potential that dwells in the root.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and again, it said, it should have said, Kol Nichnas.
That's right.
Tzava B'Yisrael.
You're absolutely right.
Aren't they starting?
Yes.
The Torah here giving us some strange comments about this. He is not actually coming in. He's going up from one army to another army.
This is Yotzei, right?
Right? The Yetzirah is. So I think there is almost a remez here that those kids who are coming, they're almost expected to be already trained by their fathers.
Right.
So
that's what the Shema tells us.
Leshinatan lebenecha, v'dibarta bam.
Yeah, that's.
And as what Rav Yechezkel was saying about being attached to the roots of your father, we see this with David HaMelech and Shlomo. When Shlomo, he's the one who completes the house. His father prepares the way.
Right.
Well, who's the one who completes it?
The son's potential dwells in the father.
So let me ask you a question. If everything we say is true and right, and everybody have the role, why would I have my own answer for this, but I'm interested to hear from you. Why would the Levites? It says, "V'alevim lemate avotam לא התפקדו בתוכם.
Right, they're not accounted.
They are not accounted. Well, if everybody is important, what about the Levaim? Any thoughts on that?
Okay.
You want to take a step at that?
Yeah, just a quick thought that comes to mind regarding people who feel that their function is less important. What are the sojourners compared to? You just mentioned it. The Leviim. In many places. So, in many places we can see that the Leviim are honored, but at the same time, they're left out of the counting. So they could have felt like their worth was not at that moment, but they don't, because their function is unique. Everybody has a unique function.
So you're saying basically the Torah want to tell us that they are very unique.
They have a unique function.
Yeah, but okay. You do you have any thoughts on that one? That's a tough one.
Okay, in this situation, if we're talking about the entire klal, and there's a potential that dwells in everyone, what makes these characters uniquely different?
You're right, especially those who are the worship leader. I would say, oh my gosh, you want to count those first before anybody else. Any thoughts on that one?
The only thing I could look at is the spiritual root of Levi.
Yeah.
The spiritual root of Levi differs in the function than the rest of the klal. Okay, in a way, but then again, we still have to reconcile.
You're thinking exactly. You stole a little bit my thunder.
Yeah, so you thought.
Yeah, actually, this is where I wanted to take it as even a step further. The Leviim are the manigim. They are the leaders, right?
Exactly. That's
in many ways, you know, Moshe Rabbeinu, you know,
right.
The Leviim. Therefore, they're going to the head of Israel when Israel go to a battle. Now think about it. Why would he say, don't count the Leviim? What is this? Just tell them, carry your leaders.
Exactly.
They're not counting them because it's the job of Israel to carry them.
Exactly.
There is a concept here of the merit, of the zchut that is giving.
Now think about this, sorry to chime in, but we talked about edut.
Right.
The language when you get to the Levi'im is that they are to guard, mishmeret, mishkan, edut.
Right. Exactly.
Right? And so it's the job of the people to ensure that these people maintain the balance, that they have to make sure they lift them and carry them.
So, here is the answer actually now the scripture gives.
Right.
Actually they were counted, but they're counted differently.
Right.
Look at this. Everything we say is correct, but look now at the pshat. Verse 50. Ve'ata.
Actually,
verse to come to the shiur. Okay, Eldad, we're bringing you to the shiur. In 2 minutes we finish. Ve'ata hafked.
Right.
Oh, whoa. You just say don't count. Now you say do count. Ve'ata hafked et halevi'im al hamishkan ha'edut ve'al kol kelav ve'al kol asher lo hema is'u. So wait a second, it just is not to count. Now he says, oh, we don't know, count them. But they're counting toward the Mishkan of the Edut and all the instruments, all the things around it. So wait a second, they do count. They count in a unique way.
Right.
And that is what I want you all to take from the Shiur Torah Hayom. Everybody count in a unique way. We just released a statement of faith that says the Goyim, Yehudim, Anusim all count in a unique way. Please understand something. If you are here watching the Shiur Torah, you count. And you count in a very special way.
Can we also add the word yifkot, which means to be mindful?
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
If we're not mindful, there's no sense of being able to carry each other.
Absolutely. That's exactly right.
Does not Shaul make the same point in Romans 11 when the counting 600,000, 300,000, 550? He says when the fullness of the Gentiles come in, then the Geulah comes. When all ports have come in to their fullness and their understanding and their function.
So look at this. In Judaism, when you reach 600,000 people, you have a special blessing you make only with 600,000. And this is a blessing for the Geulah. You call upon the Geulah to come. What is the Torah teach us here? Do your job, man.
Yes.
Oscar, do your job. have nothing to do with your salvation individual. You do your job, I do my job, he does his job, the Geulah will surely come. That is because we are ready to have this fullness. You see here a picture, and by the way, in Romans 11, since you quoted, he does not just talk about the fullness of the Gentiles.
Fullness of Israel.
The fullness of the Jews. Read earlier in the text. The fullness of the Jews is equally important as the fullness of the Gentile. You know what? I said this to the Jewish people. People asked me and got angry last night because I said in the statement, we are not to proselytize Jews. What did I mean by this? I make it very clear right now. Okay, that's very, very simple. You do the mitzvah as a Jew, they do the mitzvot. Hey, the fullness of Israel come. Similarly to us. Yes, but look again, the Levim have their role. You have your role, I have my role. Respect each other's roles. Okay? And know that you count. Each mitzvah, that's why Bernstein says, it's mitzvah. At the end of the day, mitzvah is a mitzvah. You know? So do your job. So I think in conclusion, number one, learn what is your job. If you don't know what is your role, what are your space cadet? How my service study Torah. No, your job is not to study Torah. Your whole job is to take what is learned and apply it to Yehud, to your calling. Literally, I use the word calling. Know your calling in life. Every Jew needs to know his calling. Everybody in the body of Messiah needs to know calling. It's called Seder. Number one, know it. Number two, when you get it, don't drag your feet. Do it. Do it to the fullness because it's affect all of Israel. And number three, don't put down anybody else's calling.
You have to enable everyone.
And encourage the calling of your brother. Encourage him.
You've called.
Exactly. Be mindful. Don't think because you call to something different, it means your brother calling is less important. It's equally important.
Even if you do your calling, you cannot block the calling of your brother. You have to allow your brother to do what his calling is.
That's it.
Work together.
Not only this, enable him, encourage.
Lift him up if you need to.
Don't be negative. Not to the church, not to the Gentile, not to the Jews, not to the altar. Nobody. Everybody have a role to play in the last days. And that's believe Jews who don't believe in Mashiach. Look at Rabbi Garmon. Look at this. What do you think? He's not bringing the Geulah in what he's doing? 1,000,000% he
Rabbi
does.
Gil,
Yes.
doing his role.
And if Messianic Judaism just learn to honor each other, calling, and not to be so cutthroat, then guess what? The Geulah surely come. We already will say the bracha of the 600,000. May the Geulah come quickly. You want to add last word?
Well, I absolutely agree. I think that's the formation. And where do you find this formation? In the Galut.
In other words, if we have this
That's it.
expectation to
Bingo.
wait
Bingo.
for a better tomorrow, then everything will be better,
Yes.
lo better, right? It won't be in order. We have to start now.
That's it. This
We have to
process
learn in the
does
Galut.
not start when we are in the Eretz Israel.
Think about this. How did Hashem create the world? It said it was tohu vavohu.
Yeah, that's exactly
There was
it.
potential to actualize. In other words, we all have the potential. And what's a midbar? The root? Right.
תדבר.
We got to learn our
You
role
know,
and how to work
לדבר.
together before we can even enter the
reality מציאות.
Right.
מוציא אות.
Right.
What coming out of you will be the reality of the Pikud and of Kada. So now help each other find the deposit so we can materialize together, and may Mashiach Tzidkenu come and the Geulah will come upon all the house of Israel. Amen? Amen. Thank you very much for the panel. Beautiful shiur, beautiful shiur.